Before we get started, let me say that when in any of my recipes at all, if I say a clove of garlic, this is what I mean, okay? Let's move on. So you need some oysters. This is the liquid in the oyster is called oyster liquor. Cheese, using my scallops, onions, and my shrimp. What I have in here is technically 3 tablespoons of butter, but it was just the last bit of the last butter stick I used, so I just put it in there. It's fine. But typically you want to start with 2 tablespoons of butter over medium heat. Okay, you're gonna let that melt all together. Oh, I'm spilling. I like the, I guess, mellowed flavor of oyster, but I definitely do not like the full flavor or the texture. Freaking gross. I've already drained this of all the oyster liquor, so I'm just gonna put my oysters in there. It's not gonna be for a long time at all. You'll notice here too, you still have some more oyster liquor that will fall off because oysters are full of that. Let it cook a little bit. Alright, whatever juices stay in there, that's fine. You want to soak it up with flour in a little bit. Pick them out as gently as I can with some tongs and just put it on a cutting board for later. Be careful, if you can, not to burst them. That's what you have left. Now, what you want to do is get you a white onion, a jumbo one, maybe a few mediums, whatever you need to do to get you 2 cups of diced onion. Okay? You want to mix it up, get everything coated, and then you're going to let it simmer. If you need to, maybe turn the heat up a little bit more, not a lot. This is going to simmer for maybe 5 to 10 minutes, just until your onions get a little translucent. Once your onions get to your desired consistency, they're translucent but not super soft. I like chunky soups that crunch personally. So now you're going to add is your garlic. You won't cook your garlic for too long because you don't want it to burn. I put 3 cloves in there, by the way. But you do what you feel is best. Everybody knows you measure garlic with your heart. Now here can be the tricky part. I said to use 3/4 of a cup, but maybe you won't use that much. I don't know. If you have any experience in making a roux, then you'll get to know how it feels. Just practice some. I'm not perfect as it is. I can't make macaroni and cheese to my life. You just sprinkle in your flour a little at a time. That's all you can really do, a little at a time. Okay? And then mix it. You don't want it to get super dry, but you want it to absorb most of the liquid. I'm getting flour everywhere. I'm a messy cook. Whatever. Okay, it's starting to stick a little bit. So let me turn my heat down. You're going to want to constantly stir it. Maybe let it cook for a minute or so. What you're trying to do here is get rid of the flour flavor. Don't brown it too. Yeah, this is all right. Maybe a sprinkle more. Just a little bit. Okay. Just continue to stir this. Once you get to this step, make sure you have at the very least your half and half poured and ready to go. Kind of do it a little slowly so it can incorporate properly. I like my soups thick, so we have to plan this according to your taste. This is when you're gonna add all of your seasonings, okay? Now, even after I make this, I definitely maybe put extra in there depending on how it tastes, but you're gonna add your dry seasonings here. I'm gonna stir everything up. And at this point, it's really a big matter of kind of heating it through. This is where you're gonna add your shrimp, because that takes the longest to cook. For the most part, the oysters and the scallops are just heating up after the actual soup is cooked. Now, me personally, I like bite-size. So this is about a pound of shrimp, and I cut it in either in 2s or 3s. So if you put it in now, as the soup heats up, it'll cook to the perfect temperature or tenderness, and you won't have hard chewy shrimp. You can just keep it on medium and just let it ride out for a little while. You're just gonna stir it every so often, and when your shrimp become pink, it's either already turning pink a little bit. At this point also, if you want to, it's not required. This is when you add your Italian cheese, so that as the soup comes back to boil and get hot, your cheese will melt with it. I personally like a lot of cheese. I'm a cheese fanatic. So I'm going to do half a cup. As you start and to learn what you like, then, you know, add more, add less. This time around I'm using just regular Parmesan cheese. I think the first 2 times I made this, I used Pecorino Reggiano, which, if you choose to use Pecorino Reggiano, please know that Pecorino is salty as all get out, all on its own, okay? So you don't want to add too much salt if you're going to use Pecorino. Now what you want to do is get your oysters. Now me, like I said, I don't like the texture, so I chop mine and mince it kind of small. So once you have it minced pretty finely, you're gonna drop it in there. I recommend doing your oyster liquor first, or your oysters first, because depending on your taste, especially if you've never had oysters before, adding all the oyster liquor first and then putting the oyster in may make the flavor a bit too strong for you. I recommend a ½ pound, but the girl, I guess she didn't hear me right and I didn't notice until the last minute. This is technically 1 pound of scallops, and I kind of cubed them into pieces like this. I like bite size. So for me, I'm gonna add about half of this. And if it doesn't overpower too much, I'll add the rest. Scallops to me don't really have that much of a flavor. Maybe I'm buying the wrong scallops, but it's more a texture thing that I'm aware of. Your scallops don't really cook. They're mostly just being warmed through. And I think I'll probably add the rest of these, because what will I do with scallops? But typically a ½ pound. Now at this point, for me, this is where you taste it and adjust. I don't think I need the oyster liquor for my taste. I don't think I need it. In this particular batch, it turned out actually pretty perfect. I'll let this sit and simmer for maybe 5 or 10 more minutes and turn it down. And I'll come back to it and see how I feel. I'll probably add more cheese, knowing me. I let this simmer maybe for about hardly even 5 minutes really. Like I said, the point of it is just to heat through the scallops, which to me don't really have a flavor. Like I said, maybe the flavor that the scallops I'm eating are terrible, which is why I say chop up, dice, and mince the oysters first. Put them in the soup, let your soup kind of marinate a little bit, and then if you feel like you need to, add the oyster liquor afterwards, because this is a lot here that I'm gonna be throwing away. Maybe. We'll see. That's my recipe. Personally, the first time I made this, I bought oyster crackers. They freaking suck. I don't like them. It's one of those things that tastes even better the next day.